Welcome to You Know Something with DiAnna.
Hey, look, I'm just here to entertain, inform, and keep this crazy train on track.
And Tia.
Me, I'm like your live wire that is liable to go,
They're like your cool aunts.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
Fun.
I can't believe you even brought that up. That is so fun.
Informative.
It's impossible to dust potpourris.
You can't.
Sometimes serious.
DiAnna, sweet child. I am almost stunned. I mean, I'm being really serious.
But most of the time, not so much.
A caca. I mean, you're caca and you're caca. No. I'm sorry.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Ladies,
Hello, welcome to You Know Something. I'm DiAnna.
And I'm DiAnna.
We want to welcome you back. We have been gone. Did you notice?
We missed you.
I really did miss doing this.
I have absolutely missed doing this.
If you listened for the last 2 years, it was DiAnna and Tia. So you know Tia. Tia's on a sabbatical. DiAnna is a guest co-host, but she's fitting right in and is at home, and I really love the way things are going, and we really built up some momentum. Back in February we started. We did, I think, 7 episodes of You Know Something and Giggles and Gratitude, and then life kind of happened,
Yeah.
as it does. And we've both had kind of personal things that we've had to deal with that have put off recording. And my priorities, DiAnna, are God / my faith, my self-care, family, friends, and then what I call everything else category. And this podcast
Agreed.
is my everything else category. As much as I love it, and it is kind of a self-care because I enjoy it so much, and it's
Sure.
a creative
A
outlet.
healing, a therapy, if you will.
Yeah, and you're my friend, so that it goes into the friends category. But I had a family issue, which happens, and it was taking all of my time, which I'm certainly glad to do that. But it has kept me from being able to leave and come and podcast. So, and then you've had some things too that we'll talk about. And I mean, it just happens. Everybody goes through that, and we're fortunate that this is not our career, it's
Sure.
our creative outlet, so we didn't have to do it.
Right?
So we appreciate you guys' patience, and we're sorry. I can't stand to go look for a podcast that I love and it's not there, and I think, what is going on?
Why are they not podcasting?
What's happening? And then people, we hope you didn't forget about us. We hope you didn't think, hey, I can live without them, actually.
But, it's also the message, everybody has life happen to them at some point, and you do have to stop and deal with those issues. DiAnna has graciously allowed me to be right here in this position, and I have been so excited the last few days that we've been planning to do this, and so let's get started.
Let's do. Okay, you may not be aware of this, DiAnna, but when I tell you, you're going to be like, that's right. May is the 2nd anniversary of this podcast. Our first episode was in May with Tia and I.
Oh,
And what our listeners don't know is that DiAnna has been behind the scenes this whole time. Our biggest cheerleader, our biggest supporter. And
go, rah, rah.
and you allowed us to have a studio space, a recording space, which is so,
Yeah,
I mean, it's everything to a podcast.
it
You
was
got to
nothing to me.
Diana's a business owner. She has a building, and she said, there's a little empty room down here, and you can use it as long as it's empty. It was empty about maybe 6 months. And
Yeah, it worked out perfect.
It really did. And then Tia and I found another space, and then Tia took the sabbatical, and now we're back again.
Now we're back. Here we are.
Did you imagine that you would be behind the microphone?
Oh, never in a million.
Really?
No, this is so not me.
Oh, I wouldn't say that because you do promotional videos for your business.
I don't like doing them. I'll tell people on my video, you all know I don't like this, but I'm doing it for you.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Because it is for a business, and Janie loves when I do them. So she says we get tons and tons of reviews. So
Well, that's awesome. Well, I really appreciate it. Also, May is melanoma awareness / skin cancer awareness month. And if it's your first time listening, DiAnna is a registered nurse. She's a nurse injector. She owns her own med spa, would you say, is that how you describe it? So she knows about this type of thing, and she's had some personal experience. I don't know how much you want to share about it, but I think when you have a platform where we reach countries,
sure,
dozens of countries and 45 states of the 50, we'll talk about that later, that it's kind of not an obligation, but it's a shame not to use that platform to share and to help somebody. So
absolutely.
would you want to talk about your skin cancer experience?
I would love to. So I have had basal cell carcinoma, and I've had years to think about it and look at it because I am a procrastinator. And if it weren't for my sweet husband Dan, I probably wouldn't have even had these places looked at. However, he obviously encouraged highly to the point where he called and made the appointment for me.
Ah.
And so I did have a place on my back that has about 10 stitches right now currently. And I also had a place on my forehead which has 23 stitches from the top of my forehead all the way down to my ear. And so those basal cell carcinomas, even though you on the surface they are basically something that doesn't heal. It'll be rough, patchy skin. It'll kind of scab over, and then that falls off. And then for a little while, it's kind of dormant, but then it always pops back up. And it's been doing that for so many years, I just kind of didn't pay any attention to it. But it began to grow what's called like little tentacles. So yes, so that's why it was so critical that close to my brain. And then I go tomorrow to have one on my collarbone area. And I just was a sun worshiper. So I feel like now we know and we're educated about the benefits of sunscreen and the application of that every day. You and I didn't do that. We put on Panama Jack and iodine and baby
Held the
oil.
aluminum thing in front of your reflector onto your face.
Yeah, and we had the little timer so that we could turn over and be like a rotisserie chicken out baking.
True.
But, I enjoy the sun. And the sun, to some extent, obviously, is healthy for us. And it brings my day a little bit brighter, the sunshine when it's out. So I will still be out in the sun. However, I am now more diligent about my sunscreen. Of course, I preach that all the time to people. So I need to practice what I preach.
Sure. Well, I don't think we bring it up into our hairline, because you don't want to get your roots greasy and mess your hair up. But
Right?
those places there and the ear, I was reading, are and the back of the neck are very common in women because you don't put yours. Generally, I wear a sunblock every day under my makeup, but I don't
Right.
put it on my ears. I don't put it on the back of my neck.
Correct.
So-
And that's skin too.
Exactly.
And so these have not been real fun. So I would encourage anyone who had an area of skin that you're concerned about that will not heal or that just comes up all of a sudden, find yourself a good dermatologist. There's a lot of them out there, and I think it'll help benefit you for the future so you stay around a little longer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you would give up those sunny days for much because those are good memories.
Those are good memories.
There's nothing we can do about it now, but
That's right.
now we know.
Maybe
like you
a
said,
little
we know
less
better.
baby oil. I confused.
We know better now. When you know better, you can do better. And I was researching for this very reason for the episode. And, people, the tanning beds are even worse. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to hurt anybody with the tanning bed business. But I think some people feel like those are better. And maybe they've changed that technology, but...
Not that I'm aware of. It does still have damaging rays. And yes, I love the look that I get from the tanning bed. I mean, bodies just look better with a little color on them.
I think so too.
However, I've had to, in the past few years, cut that out of my life, and I was an avid sun. I was either in the sun or I was in the tanning bed.
They've really improved self tanners. I'll include a
I
few
agree.
links because, they don't have that smell anymore. They don't transfer as bad. They don't turn you orange. So
Right.
it's real. I think that's really the thing to do if you
It's
can.
a great alternative.
When you go in, the thing you worry about is, like you say, the little roots, the little tentacles
Yes.
spreading out and getting into your bloodstream. Because once that happens, then you've got that cancer going through your body, and you can't tell that from the outside.
Correct.
So what do they do to check to see if that's spread like that?
They do a biopsy. They go
Okay.
in, they do numb you. It's very effective. I didn't feel anything but pressure. And they take a little scrape of those cells, send them off, and then obviously your toxicology comes back, and then we go forward with what you're...
So you left and they let you know later. It's not something you wait in the office to find out. It's
no, not for that.
okay. Okay.
Now, when they are actually doing the surgery and they took a layer and sent it back, they had to make sure that they had it, all cleared up.
Yeah.
So that did take time to sit in the office.
So they don't know until they make the incision how far it's spread.
Correct.
Ooh. Okay. I think what keeps people from going to the dermatologist and having that, what do they call it, to establish what marks are on your body, and then you do a comparison to see what has changed,
Right.
is you're embarrassed.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
And
things you don't want a doctor to see. You just, if you're not in shape, you think, oh, I'm wrinkly, I've got stretch marks, I've got
there's
moles.
1,000 reasons not to go.
Yeah.
But you have the main reason to go is your life. Because even though these are just on your skin, they can cause a lot more damage down the road. So it is best just to stop procrastinating like I do and just go see a doctor.
And they have seen it all.
They have.
You're not the grossest thing they've seen, I promise you.
They have seen it all.
Like I say, we've had this show for 2 years now, and we are in a couple of dozen countries now, which is great. And in the USA, we're in all but 5 states. And I think we've talked about this before, but there's 5 states are still stubborn. Not a single solitary soul listens in these 5 states. So I'm going to name them again. I want you to shame anybody who lives in those states that you know for not listening.
Listen to us, people.
What's wrong with you? What are you doing? So you could share a link if you know somebody who lives in these states, or just tell them on the phone, or just recommend it, because I would love to go back and look at our statistics. Thank you. I couldn't think of that word. And see, oh, the state is listening now. There's 2 listeners or whatever. So you could be responsible for that, making us so happy.
All right. Who are the 5?
Okay, Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. We might have to go up and tell them. That's so
kinda
fun
far.
up there.
Arkansas.
Arkansas. Come on
I
now.
know, the South. Come on. Delaware.
Delaware, people. Come on, Delaware.
South Dakota.
Ooh, South Dakota. I
And-
love that place.
Have you? I've never been there. And Vermont. Now, how many of those states have you been to?
I have been to Alaska. I have been to Arkansas. I have been to, yes, Delaware, South Dakota, and Vermont. I've been to all
You've been
those.
to all of them.
I have.
Wow. What are your thoughts just generally on those states?
I have actually taken about 5 or 6 trips out west just to usually go for about 2 weeks, drive out so that every day you can go to something different. Of course, you have Crazy Horse out there, and you have the Yellowstone National Park.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Oh my goodness. Yellowstone is beautiful. It's worth going just for that.
Yeah.
But the vast amount of animals that are out there, the buffalo. I love to go in the spring where the baby buffalo are just like right up underneath their moms. They are so cute. And you drive by and they are right outside your window.
I don't think I've ever seen a baby buffalo.
Oh, they are
Oddly enough,
adorable.
where I used to work, it was a popcorn popper place that made popcorn poppers. I was a customer service manager. There was a buffalo that lived out in the middle of the field where our building was. Just, I don't know who owned it, where it came from. It wasn't in a fence. And you drive down the road, the gravel road to the building, and the buffalo would just stand in the middle of the road and would not move out of the way. So you just I'd call and say, I'm going to be about 5 minutes late because the buffalo. The buffalo's not, you don't move a buffalo till it's ready to move. You don't.
You do not.
What's a baby buffalo look like? How does it look? Does this look like a shrunk down buffalo?
Yeah, but it's super cute.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just a miniature buffalo, but it's the fur on it is wispy, almost like a cat.
Oh, I bet it's soft.
Yes.
As opposed to
I really did want to get out and pet one, but
Yeah.
I didn't think Mama would really like that.
She would. I'd say they're
Yeah.
dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you have to have definite animal respect there.
Yeah.
Because really, that's where they live, and we're the intruders.
Yeah, you're the intruder. Yeah, especially when they have a baby around. What about Alaska? What's your experience with Alaska?
I went on a cruise to Alaska, so a lot of different icebergs. Actually, one did come crashing.
Really?
I got to see that, one of the most spectacular things I've ever witnessed. And it was odd, the silence that was there. It was almost reverent, if you would, on the boat. And nobody was really talking because you are in kind of shock and awe when you see it that up close, especially me for the very first time. And I would absolutely encourage anyone to go up and experience that, because it's so big, and you think it's so many miles back of just pure ice.
Right.
And I always wonder, what's under that ice?
How far does it go down?
Yes.
I mean, icebergs are.
2 and 3 miles and,
Yeah.
and more.
You're just seeing the tip coming out of the water. Now, when it fell, was there not a tsunami? I mean, was there not a. What?
It was a chunk of the ice that just fell, and of course the ripples and the waves. And yes, you could feel. I mean, it was a pretty big.
How bad?
You know, it was violent,
Yeah. Wow.
and you felt it in your heart. You could just, I don't know. It's a very unique experience, and then we got to see little baby seals out on the icebergs laying out there. It was an experience. So yeah, I love all those states out there.
Yeah, Alaska's like a whole nother world, I would imagine. I've never been, but, I used to be a house sitter, and people would go on cruises and around the world trips, and inevitably every single one of them said, if I could go again right now on another trip, I'd go to Alaska.
Yeah.
I loved it more than the tropical cruises because it's just so unique and
So different.
kind of spiritual. They said it was kind of
Yes. Yes.
amazing. So Alaska, come on. Delaware, I drove through Delaware. I landed in Washington, D.C. and went to Philadelphia. So it was like,
Okay.
I mean, you get through it. Delaware, you can drive through Delaware in like an hour and a half. And it took me 45 minutes to get here today. So twice that much, you're already through the state. I mean, it was pretty, and it looked like there was a lot going on. Had the skyscrapers, and it looked like a fun place. But like a comparison, like Alaska takes 42. I was researching this earlier. 42 hours to drive across, where Delaware takes an hour and a half.
Yeah, there's a little difference there.
Yeah. So you have Delaware experience.
I don't really have anything. I was probably just driving through to get to somewhere else, but I have.
I
been
know,
there.
poor Delaware. We just drove through to get somewhere else. But we still love you.
Absolutely.
Okay, and Vermont, I've never been to Vermont, but I think my sister, and thank you to my sister for helping me out today so that I could come here so much. That means so much to me. I forgot to mention that.
Vermont's beautiful.
Yeah, like the leaves changing. I've heard people go there.
Yes.
That's the time to go.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Our country is so diverse
Yes,
and beautiful.
we really don't have to leave in order to, see something very exquisite and,
Yeah.
exciting and fun right inside all of our little states.
Yeah. And, Chat GPT said GPT when I asked it, what states are not listening to us? Because all I could see was a list of states that were listening to us. It told me these 5 states, and it said, do you want a mnemonic trick on how to remember these states? And I said, okay. I don't know if you talked to Chat GPT at all.
I've never even heard of it.
Okay. It's AI.
Never talked to them.
It's AI. It's pretty amazing.
I don't get out much, people.
You can do this on your phone. I'll teach you later. But anyway, like Roy G. Biv, how you remember the rainbow colors.
Okay.
Have you ever heard Roy G. Biv?
Uh-uh.
It's like you imagine that's a person, Roy G. Period Biv, B-I-V. That's red, orange, yellow, Roy G. Green, B-I-V, blue, indigo, violet. That's how you remember the order of the. Yeah. Chat GPT said remember these states: with all amazing ducks swim vigorously. So, all you amazing ducks, stop swimming and listen to our podcast. Stop swimming so vigorously. So, DiAnna, we don't always talk about skin and anti-aging and all that, but, it's a shame not to when you're here, but we like to talk about different things. So, is there anything on the horizon or coming up, or things you're excited about that you want to talk about? I'll give you a moment to do that.
Well, have you ever heard of the salmon sperm facial?
Well, very little, because I asked you one day, have you heard of salmon sperm? And you were like, excuse me? And you said, well, I like to research things when things are coming up. You don't recommend things that you haven't done yourself, but you like to. I'll let you say it. You say it. You say it.
Well, you're doing a fine job. I'm going to just let you just keep right on going.
So salmon sperm. The first thing you think of.
So does that gross you out? Just when I say that.
The thought of that being on my face?
Yes.
No, because I eat salmon. I assume there's a little bit of sperm in there when I eat it.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm eating the whole salmon.
Right.
Okay. So I think I can live with that.
You can live with that. Because of, again, some people are going to go, ooh, and not even want to learn what it is. They're already automatically turned off. So open up your minds.
Yeah.
Open up your minds, get past what it's called, but salmon sperm facials. They're also known as PDRN, which is a polynucleotide. So by injecting this substance, and again, it is derived from salmon sperm, and we place it into the skin. And what does this do? Well, it promotes, again, collagen production and skin regeneration. Which
we all want that.
You hear that all day, every day. That is one of the things that really helps our body be better and helps, like injectors like me, help you by your body getting back to doing what it was supposed to do, like when it was 20 and 30.
As opposed to something topical that goes away by the end of the day.
Correct. And if you have a whole lot of dead skin on your face and you put this great cream on, where's it going to go? Just right on top of that dead skin, and it's not really going to do anything. So if you're going to go to the point of wanting to make a change, I encourage people to do something that really does make a difference. And just slathering a cream on is not going to do anything.
It's a temporary fix.
It is. So, although this treatment has gained in popularity, it's crucial to understand, obviously, the potential benefits, but the risks and the reasons why it's not FDA approved for injection in the United States.
Okay.
It is not.
Okay.
In the U.S., the FDA has yet to approve the use of these injections. So I guess the Kardashians had to go somewhere else to get theirs
Somebody's
done.
doing it.
Somebody's doing the treatment abroad. Maybe that's what we need to do, is plan us a trip abroad, and we're going to go get us a salmon facial.
I think everybody goes to Turkey for these crazy experimental things.
But again, this can also be applied to the patient's skin with microneedling.
Okay.
As opposed to putting it into a syringe and injecting. So there's different modalities that you can do. So what exactly are these that we're placing onto the skin or into the skin? A polynucleotide is basically a small fragment of DNA and RNA. So these fragments help stimulate the production of new blood vessels, more collagen, keratinocytes.
Ooh, that's a big word. Is that like eating carrots?
Essentially for your skin, because it makes new skin cells.
Okay.
Yeah, so eat your carrots and inject them. Grind them up in a little grinder.
Why not? We don't endorse that. We're just
we're teasing. We're teasing. So the end of this is essentially to give the skin thicker, a healthier, more hydrated appearance, and it basically gives the skin a boost.
Very good.
So a lot of serums are actually better on your face, especially if you're not into doing injections. the microneedling, placing that on your skin is still extremely effective.
Yeah, it forces it down in there though with the microneedling. Right?
Correct. Yes. It gets it past, we get off all the dead skin so we're not having to fight through those layers. But once you get those off, then you can put like a little skin booster on there and it makes a difference.
Okay. So as soon as that is
if that
on
were
the market,
to be,
you let us know. And
absolutely. I was going to say, as soon as the FDA approves that, I would be 100% on board with that.
I'll be your guinea pig.
Okay.
Your guinea fish.
All right.
I wonder if we grow gills. Or are you thinking about the little happy salmon? And how happy they are to participate?
I see where you're going. I'm like, what?
My question is, how do you get the sperm? I guess they're killing let's just be honest. They're killing the salmon and going to the little salmon area where their sperm is and taking it out, right? It's not like they're, I don't know how to say it.
I really
It's not
don't
like there's
know.
a lot of happy little salmon getting.
I was going to say, how do they get it? I mean, maybe we could just make a joke of it at the end and say, I bet there's a lot of
we're
happy
recording.
salmon. We're recording right now. Hello. You might have to cut all that out. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's hard to imagine not killing them. Your imagination goes crazy thinking about how you would get little salmon
See,
sperm.
my imagination never even goes down that path.
Well, I mean,
I just figure,
I guess they would call it milking the salmon. Do they milk the salmon or do they hit the salmon over the head and take it?
or did they just put a little fishing lure into the...
I don't know. I
Get
like
the
to think
salmon.
that they survive and that they're very happy doing their job. That's what I like to think.
I would have to do some research in order to be able to have an educated conversation on this. I'm flying by the seat of my pants right now.
Okay. Well, we'll update that. I'll check back with you
Yeah.
when it's available, and we'll play around
We'll
with
Google
it.
that.
Yeah. We'll let you know how it works, and if we grow gills or not. Sometimes we don't talk about topical stuff because our episodes come out later and it's old news by then. But the Kentucky Derby did happen. Do you have any experience with the Kentucky Derby? Have you ever been?
I have not been.
Now that surprises me. 'Cause we're not that far away, and you're always into all the.
I do love horses. We actually know of a veterinarian in Dan and I in Kentucky, and he does horses, and he usually has horses. So I need to hit him up for some tickets.
You do, because think about the hat. I mean, you would look
Oh,
fabulous.
and it's all about the hat, is it not?
It's about the fashion and the drink and the party and the buffet. I mean, I don't know. It's all that rich people stuff there.
It's all that.
Saturday, May 3rd, 2025, the Kentucky Derby was held. And, the first Kentucky Derby was over 150 years ago.
I
And
did not know that.
yes, 1875. So this was the 151st running of the horses. Do you ever bet on horses?
I do not.
Only thing I've ever bet on like that is dog racing in Florida. And I kind of turned against that because the greyhounds, they would, once they're not running, they're like, there's a big greyhound rescue organization.
Yes.
And they don't want them anymore, They're very sweet dogs, but it is fun to sit and eat dinner and, you just press the little button while you watch them run. It's one race after another after another.
Right.
My theory was watch them before the race, and whichever one poops a big pile is probably feeling pretty good and light on their feet.
I feel pretty good after I've had a good poop, so
I'm ready to run.
I don't know if I'm ready to run, but I'm feeling better than I was before.
Yeah, I mean, that would slow you down. That would be sluggish. It didn't really
Sure.
I mean, I won like half the time, so I'm not sure that theory worked. But this year, if you had bet, it would have been great because the winner was not expected to win. 7-1 odds. It was called Sovereignty.
Sovereignty, okay.
Yeah, which I love
remember.
that word.
I like that too.
Yes. And they beat out the favorite, who was journalism. I don't really like journalism. So that's kind of great. The Sovereignty, that's kind of political. Sovereignty beat journalism, which that's as far as we'll go on that. We don't talk about politics. The prize was $3.1 million. The total prizes are $5 million, but you have first win, place, and show.
Wow.
But if you think about those trainers and how much they spend on those horses, and that whole industry is, I've known somebody who went regularly, and they said it's kind of a nasty business. And I'm not accusing certain people of anything, but it's high stakes. There's cheating involved sometimes that they really have to watch, but it's really a big.
It's a big deal.
It is. It's a big, powerful industry, which some people are unscrupulous. That
Sure.
anytime there's that much money involved.
Anytime you have money and power, you're going to have the people who want to mess it all up.
Yeah, they abuse it. Sovereignty won by 1.5 links, beating out journalism. So I guess journalism was second. I hope that's correct. I'm not sure. But the jockey was fined $31,000 because you're only allowed to whip, that sounds terrible, whip the horse 6 times within a race. And he did it like 7 or 8. I think it was 7. He said, well, I lost count. I'm sorry. This is a lot of pressure. I'm thinking about a lot of things, and I believe you if you counted and saw it, but I didn't intentionally. So I'm going to whip this horse as much as I can. It was just, I lost track of the count, which would be kind of tough to do.
But yeah, you have testosterone flowing through you and energy, and I can imagine.
But we're going 1.
But you got to be careful, not to hurt the horse either.
Right. It's really bad. Well, it's interesting because, let me bring up this article because I don't want to say this wrong, but, you have the Kentucky Derby, you have the Preakness, and you have Belmont Stakes. And if you win all 3, that's the Triple Crown.
Right.
So Sovereignty will not be participating in the Preakness, which is May 17th, just right around the corner, because they're evaluating the damage done to him from the Kentucky Derby, which I was like, what? And they're like, no, we're going to have to skip it, and hopefully we'll be ready for the Belmont Stakes.
What damage was done to him?
June 7th. Well, they won't say. They just said after this race, the veterinarian or trainer is evaluating to see if Sovereignty will be ready on June 7th for the Belmont Stakes. So that is disturbing to me.
Perhaps he had a leg injury, a minor leg injury.
Yeah, they say they can. Some horses die when they run that fast. They break their leg, which happens to a horse when it breaks its leg.
Right.
They could have a sprain. All these different things can happen to them.
Well, I actually respect the fact that they're not going to push the horse to run when he's not ready.
Yeah, because they want to go for that Triple Crown.
Course. But if you're truly going to win, you have to have a relationship with your horse that includes, veterinary care and his health before a race.
True. And I wonder, do you think of a horse like that as your pet, or is that like your equipment? Just like your facial machine or whatever?
Think of it as a pet.
I know, that's it. You probably couldn't do it then.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, but it is their business, and they do have a lot of money put in it.
A lot of money. But it is exciting to watch.
It is.
And I do like all the hats. They were cool.
It's an event. And obviously, it's a harder life than just living out in a pasture, but I'm sure they get treated very well. They get very special treatment. But, are they having fun when they're racing? Is it something that they like to do? So I did a little research on that, and kind of considered the source to PETA. I don't know how you feel about PETA. I kind of feel like PETA, I love animals, we both do, but I kind of feel like PETA goes overboard and is very drastic sometimes. Like throwing blood on people in a fur coat or whatever, that kind of thing.
Correct.
And I do believe that God put animals here as a resource for us. But we in turn should take care of God's creatures.
That's right.
But they're put here for shelter, clothing, food, work.
Right.
That kind of thing. So, and then we've kind of turned them into our pets.
It's hard not to.
It is.
Look at that. Look
I know.
at his little face.
Yeah. So according to PETAkids.com, 5 reasons why horse racing is cruel. So you can decide for yourself. I just like to show all sides of things. And racing is hard on a horse's body, which is what we were just talking about.
I agree with that.
Horses often start racing when they're just 2 years old. Now, Sovereignty is 3, but when did he start training? How many races has he been in? I don't know. And I'm calling him a he. Are all race horses he's? I'm not sure. But it could be a she. Sovereignty, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's too young, 2 years old. Their bones are still growing and their bodies aren't ready for the pressure of running at full speed on a hard track, so they can easily get injured more than older horses, which you would think it would be the opposite, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Horses are often drugged. Now, I would think they test, they would test them for that, surely. Because they're forced to run so fast, a lot of horses get hurt. But instead of letting them rest and recover from their injuries, many trainers and veterinarians give them drugs so they won't feel pain and can keep on racing. So maybe that's the thing. They don't drug Sovereignty, so he's not going to be ready.
Right.
That can cause injuries, just like a
Sure.
football player. You know how they'll shoot them up with cortisone or whatever and
Absolutely.
send it back out there.
You re-damage it more.
So this can cause their injuries to get even worse. Sometimes they're also given illegal drugs and other stuff that's not good for them. Now this is kids, so they're speaking to us like children, which is what I need. I need to be spoken to and taught like a child. Like snake venom and alcohol, they give them anything to make them run faster. Around 24 horses die every week on U.S. racetracks.
Oh my goodness.
Can't imagine. You don't hear about that, do you?
You do not. 24 a week?
Gosh. Some horses are injured
That
so
makes me sad.
I know. So badly that they can't be healed, so because their bones shatter or break. It's a lonely business for the horses. Horses are herd animals. They naturally live together in large groups, graze together in meadows, and roam all around. In races, they spend up to 23 hours a day in a stall. Ooh, I wonder if they do that just to keep them from hurting themselves. I'm getting so sad, DiAnna. And they're always being dragged around to different racetracks, so they do not get often to enjoy their freedom or spend time with other horses. They don't get to have babies and get married and go to their child's wedding or anything. Losers never win. Any horses who don't win races or stop winning often get shipped to Canada, Mexico, or Japan to be slaughtered for meat. Have you ever eaten horse meat?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, me either. I probably haven't. I didn't know that's what it was. Gone to some buffets that were probably.
I have never heard of horse meat.
Yeah, and that just
Somebody
sounds
eating
awful,
that.
doesn't it? Mm.
Yes.
Maybe it's in other countries.
Ugh.
So even if they're still young, they get slaughtered if they get injured or not winning. They've invested in these horses for that purpose of winning. Right. Some are killed at just 5 or 6 years old, even though horses can live up to 30 years old or more. So you can help the situation, it says, by never going to a horse race. Tell your family or friends that horses are suffering. Now, I'm sure there's somebody in the horse racing industry that could dispute all this.
Right.
And I'm not sharing their side. So,
Sure.
do your own research. But I just thought, I'm going to find out.
These are facts that pretty in your face.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of a downer. So I do want to say Danny Lynn Burkhead, who is Anna Nicole Smith's daughter.
Yeah.
Have you seen her recently? They live in Kentucky, her and her dad.
Oh.
She turned 18 and they went, and I think they've been going for like 15 years, but she wore her mother's gown that she wore at the big dinner they have. So she actually wore her dress.
Wow.
Yeah. She doesn't look like her in that dress like Anna Nicole did, but Anna Nicole was tweaked, her body was tweaked a little bit.
Yeah.
And Danny Lynn is natural. But she's sweet. She looks a lot like her in the face. She's kind of shy and seems so innocent and so naive. But she said it was kind of like her mom hugging her wearing this dress. Is the closest thing I get to a hug.
That's fantastic.
It is, isn't it? Now, I really followed her, that whole story when all
Right.
that was going on. It was so tragic that her son died while she was in the hospital having given birth to Danny Lynn. And then she died I think it was less than a month later, maybe a couple of weeks, something. Oh, that's so tragic. And then there was the whole
Yes.
custody battle.
Oh, yeah. That was ugly.
It was so obvious it was his daughter because she looked like so much like him.
It was.
Yeah. So anyway, he did end up with custody of her. And I'm going to be judgy for a minute and say, I feel like they're almost a little obsessed with Anna Nicole Smith. And of course, I'm just seeing that side of them because why else would they? I'm not seeing their daily life, but it's just
Right.
a little
Too much.
creepy to me. And I'm just being totally judgmental, not knowing them or anything, and just going by what I see.
I know nothing about any of that.
Okay. I mean, it's just when your mother's famous like that, and he wants her to know her because she was 5 months old when she died.
Sure.
Danny Lynn was just 5 months old. But I think she needs to have her own.
Identity.
Yeah.
I
And he may
agree.
be doing that. I'm not saying he's not, but we'll keep an eye on him and make sure.
I'll actually Google it so I can talk about it next
Okay.
time.
She needs to be her own self.
She does. Well, we all need that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to be overshadowed by, celebrity kids so much. I feel like are overshadowed.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we blabbed and blabbed and blabbed, and we've run out of time. A
All
lot more
right.
topics, so we'll just have to record another episode. How about that? I'm so glad to be back with you, DiAnna.
Yes. I am glad to be back with you, Dina, and all of our wonderful listeners.
Yes. So please like, share, tell your friends, leave us a review. All that is just so helpful. And it does take a little bit of your time, but it doesn't take any money. So,
And if you know somebody in Vermont,
okay,
Delaware,
what was it? All
Alaska,
amazing ducks. What was it? All amazing ducks swim vigorously. So that would be all amazing.
all
Alaska,
Alaska, Arkansas,
Ducks,
Delaware, Vermont,
swim,
and South Dakota.
Yay! It worked.
I got it.
She got it. All right. Thank you, guys. Be sure to listen to Giggles and Gratitude on Sunday. We love you. I love you,
Signing
Diana.
off. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We would love to hear from you.
Leave your questions or comments on our voicemail by visiting our website at DiAnnaandTia.com. Your message may be played on the show.
You can find our Instagram and Facebook links there too.
Again, that's DiAnnaandTia.com.
Thanks for listening.